I'm honored to be able to carry on his legacy and keep training people how to do this, because it's so important for so many investors as a plan for their own family, as a plan to leave a legacy for their children, to cash flow, and to help others. It's really just got that tick, tick, tick.
Welcome. This is the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping others through real estate investing. Our hosts interview guests from all aspects of real estate investing who generously share valuable experiences and advice. Whether you're starting out or an experienced investor, this is the show for you.
Hello and how's it going? My name is Travis Shelton and welcome to the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast, where I interview guests who want to help others investing in real estate. Really looking forward to an amazing show today with a very special guest, Isabelle Guarino, an industry expert and the COO of the Residential Assisted Living Academy. Isabelle, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
Absolutely. Well, we know each other a little bit, obviously, but can you give our audience your 30-second elevator pitch, a little bit more about yourself and your real estate focus?
Yeah, so I'm the COO of Residential Assisted Living Academy. We teach and train real estate investors and entrepreneurs how to own and operate residential assisted living homes. So senior housing in a residential setting. By doing good and doing well, you can cash flow a lot, but you can really help a ton of seniors in your community by providing them high quality care while, you being able to be a somewhat passive real estate investor right there. So that's what we do and what we love to teach others to do as well.
No, that's amazing. And, we always start our shows off with some motivation, and helping others is a huge motivation. So I don't know how we could get better than that. But what's the motivational quote you'd like to share with our audience today?
Yes, I want to share a quote from Oprah. It says, "If you look at what you have in life, you'll always have more. And if you look at what you don't have in life, you'll never have enough." I think that's a good one, especially for our real estate investors.
Absolutely, right? Like, we're always wanting a little bit more, and we always, some of us have that bad mindset sometimes that thinks, we can't ever do enough sometimes. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. So
transitioning into our main topic, how can you help our audience of real estate investors? Help me out. What exactly is residential assisted living, and why is it such a valuable, real estate asset for our audience?
Yeah, so it's a niche take on a big box facility, right? We all know the Brookdale, the Sunrise, the Atrium, the commercial facility you drive by or that you've had to go visit grandma at, long hallways, impersonal staff with not such quality care and kind of smelly situations. We've all been there and seen it.
Oh, yeah.
This is right the opposite of that, the antithesis of that. It's a residential home in a residential neighborhood. So when I say single family, it doesn't necessarily mean a 3-2, right?
Okay.
A single family could be an 8-5, right? It could be a much larger property, but it's housing somewhere between 6 and 16 residents in the home. Typically private bedrooms and bathrooms. The seniors who live in the home, they need 24/7 care. They need help with their activities of daily living. So there's caregivers who are there who are taking care of the residents. There's an administrator who's overseeing it all. And what we show people how to do is own the real estate and operate the business. So you're purchasing that real estate, you're licensing it, you're filling it with the residents, getting the staff, and being able to run it as a real estate investment, somewhat similar to an Airbnb, but it's a lot longer stays, right, for our residents. With, an average stay of 3.5 years, there's not as much turnover. We have massive demand with the silver tsunami coming and the baby boomers getting into this need. It's a really great place to invest and a really needed asset class for a lot of people who the community only provides big facilities and that's the only option for them. We really need to step up and change the industry by providing high quality care at a lower resident to caregiver ratio. And RAL is one of the ways we can do that.
No, I love it. And I love the passion you have for this business model and all the good that RAL is doing for the community and everyone in residential assisted living. Can you help our audience? Like, you talked a little bit about the differences between like a big box facility and or a nursing home, but like, what are these residential? Like, what is the big difference? Is it just the care ratio? Is it that it doesn't look like a hospital? Kind of like long hallways with doors on each side. I mean, do these homes get built specific or are they just a home that I live in and I retrofit to a care facility for these individuals?
Well, you can do it, I would say, any of the four ways, right? You can buy land and build custom from the ground up. For any of your listeners who are in states like New Jersey, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Texas, where you're allowed to have 15 or 16 residents, well, that's going to be hard to find a regular home in a regular neighborhood unless we're going mega mansions, right? So you may want to buy land and build custom from the ground up. Other people will use a regular single family home and convert it to become. So 300 to 500 square feet per resident is a good rule of thumb. So with 10 residents, minimum 3,000 square feet, upwards of 5 is very comfortable. The third way is you could lease a home for this. So someone may already own a home in your area that's retrofit and ready to go, but they don't want to run the business, and you partner with them, leasing the home from them, less capital from you up front. And if you're not into renovations and all that good stuff, it could be a much easier way to get into it. And then fourth, you could buy an existing. So there's 30,000, I believe, care homes across our country today. And a lot of them are being run mom and pop style. We talked about that offline a little bit, and that is the reality of it. 80% of this industry is run by immigrants, and they're usually running it mom and pop. They work in the home, they live in the home, and after about 7 or 8 years, they burn out. And so, you looking to come in and run it as a professional business owner and kind of fix and flip their business, right? You may be able to get a pretty good deal purchasing something that's already up and going. So kind of 4 different ways. But no matter what, we're going for that residential feel, right? Yeah. Not the commercial feel, not the long hallways. A huge difference is the care. We mentioned that. Our homes, they have a 4-to-1 or 5-to-1 resident to caregiver ratio. And in the big box facilities, you may see 20 seniors to 1 caregiver, right? 30 seniors. It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Coming from like a hospital background, working as a pharmacist at Mayo Clinic, walking down those halls, I couldn't never imagine a nurse taking care of 30 patients, right? Yeah. Never imagine the numbers you're talking about. Like, that is not care. That's, I could put a dog in there, honestly, at 30-to-1, and they're going to do the same as a person because it's not realistic. So I love hearing that. Maybe transitioning, a question I have is, when I'm looking and I'm underwriting certain deals, some people might buy a single family home and looking for $100 a door, or maybe some sort of, 10% cash on cash return. But what's kind of realistic? Like, how much money can be made owning a residential assisted living care home?
So let's just go national averages, right? Okay. So across our country today, it costs $4,500 a month per person to live in a care home. That's just the national average. Okay. If you're in Washington, D.C., your average is almost $7,000, right? Wow. If you're in Oklahoma, it's $2,000. So we'll call it 45 because that's just the national average. Okay. And then we said earlier, you're allowed to have somewhere between 6 and 16 residents, depending on your city, county, or state limitation. So we can go with 10 for easy math. So that's bringing us in $45,000 every month. It's probably going to run you at least $30,000 in expenses, paying for your staff, the food, the electricity, the cable, liability insurance, property insurance, you name it. Mm-hmm. Now the debt service, right? Most parts of our country, we can still get a pretty nice home for $5,000 a month. And that's leaving us with $10,000 of monthly net income or $120,000 of annual net income. So that's kind of just like averages. If I was to throw it out there, I've seen lower and I've seen a whole lot higher. Like I said, Ed, the people who can have 15 or 16 residents and who go luxury instead of, average. Yeah. I mean, some of their homes are cash flowing $30,000 a month. That's not normal. That's definitely above average, but there's a wide range in that, but 10's kind of right in the middle.
Okay. I mean, that's pretty phenomenal, when you're thinking about, one home could potentially hit a lot of people's numbers, 10,000 a month, right? So it's like, hey, if I can cash flow 10,000 a month, I'm going to be able to retire from my W-2. And so it sounds like, this is potential with limited amount of inventory, right? Or assets to be able to really set yourself free from your W-2. So really love hearing that. You'd mentioned some things that I think everyone probably has concerns about. You said like this kind of insurance, that kind of insurance, maybe like what are the rules and regulations, and like, what are the additional barriers to entry? Like what kind of additional insurance do you have to think about, or how do you kind of cover your butt, I will say, on the podcast, so that you're not, we're in a litigious society. No one wants to get sued right now. So how do you safeguard yourself from those things?
Great questions. So having liability insurance not only will help protect you, your seniors, but also your staff. And that's really important. So you really need to have liability insurance. It will not break the bank. It's typically $1 or $2 per day per person. So it's really a line item. With 10 residents, that's $300 to $600 a month. And it's one of those things that people are really afraid of. And it gets them to say, I don't know if I want to invest in this. What happens if?
Yeah.
The reality is 95% of these people are probably going to die in your home. It's not what if, it's more like when.
Yeah.
And this is end of life care. This isn't like a rehab facility where they're coming to get better to move back home. They're coming here as their last stop. And so it's your duty to give them the grace and dignity and love that they deserve in their last years of life, and to really honor that their family is choosing to come, to you to say, we want to put their life in your hands for their last 3.5 years or however long it's going to be. And we know you're going to give the best care. So protect yourself 100%. That liability insurance is key, but it's nothing to you're not going to break the bank over it.
Sure. I mean, maybe some other questions is like, how do you find these residents? Like, are you using placement, or do most people use placement agencies, or are there resources out there that maybe your company helps provide for some placements, or is it working with insurance companies? Help me with that.
Yeah, some of your residents can come through, placement agents, which is, I love talking to you because you actually know terminology in this, right? Everyone else I talk to, they're like, so are there realtors for assisted living? I'm like, kind of. So I really appreciate it. But no, placement agents, for anyone listening who doesn't know, is basically, it kind of is a realtor for assisted living. If your mom or dad falls and breaks their hip and you need assisted living, you may go to a placement agent and say, this is the location, this is the price point, these are the amenities I'm looking for. They will tour you through homes, and you may pay them 50% or an entire month's first rent, basically, and that's how they get paid. The family doesn't pay them, it's free to them. It costs you as the care home owner. That's
Okay.
an amazing way to fill your home. And if you have placement agents in your area, then I love working with placement agents because it's fast, and yeah, you pay a lot, but they're usually getting you the type of, they know what you want, and then they know what the senior wants. So they're trying to match make and see who's a good fit. And so I like that. But other than that, you want to have all your regular marketing. You want to have Facebook pages and brochures and business cards. You want to become known as the assisted living guy or gal in your area, building relationships with hospice agencies, long-term care insurance, elder law attorneys, geriatric doctors and nurses. I mean, you should go around to every funeral home, every church, synagogue, temple. You need to be the face of, the community, and saying like, hey, I've got this beautiful home, come check it out, come visit. And now they can be sending people your way, but also being active, with your web presence, and then working with people who you'll pay for. But there's so many ways, but marketing is key, because there are a lot of seniors, but how are they going to hear about you when Brookdale has millions in their budget to market, right? So you've got to put your boots on the ground and get the word out there about your home until you build that brand and build that reputation.
Very nice. Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. And placement agents, and I know like social workers at hospitals place a lot of these individuals. Help me with the operations portion of the business. Now, I know you have to hang a license, and that might be a little bit costly, but maybe the workers themselves in today's day and age, it's just hard to find good workers, and it's hard work taking care of people. So are there resources out there to try to help fill your homes like operational support, or like you said, there's multiple ways to invest in this. So maybe there's just operators that come in, but if somebody wanted to own their own home and kind of build out their staff, is there a resource or resources that you can kind of point them to?
We like to work with, first of all, befriending all of the other care homes in your area, because a lot of the times the caregivers are doing shift work. So they're working 8, 10, or 12-hour shifts. If they're working 10 or 12s, that's like a nurse, right? Where they might be on 3, off 4, or vice versa. So if you don't have a second home, then that means they're not off those 3 or 4 days. They're working at Joe Schmo's home down the road, right? Yeah. And so you want to have like a 3-pack, but until you do, when you have that first home, go partner with them. You're not stealing their staff. They want a second job. Basically, you're the second job. So working within the community, you'll kind of learn and build that. And when you get a licensed administrator, which is that key player for you to be able to be a little bit more passive, they will have kind of their own network of, these are the caregivers I like, these are the ones who, I don't know. And that's a great starting point for you. But you can always look at places like Indeed and Craigslist doing targeted ads in newspapers for caregivers. And also, a lot of community colleges are doing courses on caregiving now. You know, with the potential economic recession we have coming, you have a whole lot of people who are separating into upper and lower class, and middle class is shrinking. And so what's going to happen is, right now you might not have a lot of people who want a job as a caregiver, but guess what? That's going to be the massive majority need of what we need in this society. We don't need burger flippers anymore. Machines are doing it all, right? So we need caregivers. And so community colleges are seeing that, trade schools are seeing that, and they're opening more and more. Like Caregiver University is a company that trains caregivers. You can get a list of their fresh graduates in your area and find those people for you. But I will say, it is an industry that has high turnover if you do not treat your employees right. And at the big boxes, when they have 20 or 30 seniors to care for, you better believe that they're quitting all the time, because they don't feel very respected or loved or thanked, or like anyone's even noticing the hard work that they're doing. When they come to your home, they get fed 3 meals a day. They're hanging out in a mansion all day, and they get to take care of 4 to 5 seniors each person.
Yeah.
It's night and day, the difference.
It's like vacation for them,
Literally, they're like, this is easy. I could do this in my sleep. And a lot of them say that. They're like, this is easy. And they don't want to lose that opportunity and that job. Just last night, sorry, I'm like going on and on, but I love it. Last night we were having a meeting for our RAL National Association, and one of the guys jumped on and he said in his home, every month he will basically take every caregiver and say, you choose a day that you don't want to work, I'm going to pay you in full and I'm going to work your shift. Wow. And so instead of being like, he could be fully hands off and like not work in the home and not be in the home, which is what we do and what I train people to do. Sure. The caregivers don't even know my name. And that's how I want to run it. But he was like, no, I want to show them so much respect that like I'm willing to do what I'm asking them to do. And the loyalty in his home is 10 out of 10. Like his caregivers are obsessed with him. They do anything for him because he's like, I got you. And like, I'm not gonna, I'm not going to disrespect any of the hard work that you do to make this business possible. Instead, I'm going to like glorify you and say, you take the day, let me work for you. And it also keeps his heart and his head in the game. Yeah. And I love that. So I thought he shared that. And I was like, you're such a better person than me. I need to be like
I wouldn't go that far. He sounds like a great person, but I think it's one of those things that, it always comes down to how well are you running your business, right? Yeah. And you got to keep your employees happy. And these individuals are doing amazing work with sick people, and you should treat them right, and you should take care of them. And I don't think probably enough of, like you mentioned, those big box. As soon as you said that, I was like, just target those people leaving big boxes, and they're going to, you can pay them the same. They'll probably take a decrease to work at one of these facilities. Like you said, it's half as much work. It's probably not as painful seeing, the lack of care that some of these individuals get. So Thanks for sharing all that. I love these stories, and I love how this sort of real estate investing, right? My business is called Hot REI, but it stands for helping others through real estate investing. And that's why I love the RAL Academy. We talked about me being an inner circle before, but I love your business model. I love your late father, Gene. I love everything you guys are doing at the RAL Academy. So, help me, I guess, maybe with this next question is, how do you find out rates of assisted living in your area? Like if you're going to go and like underwrite, right, one of these deals, or I'm looking at a house, like, is it just looking at everyone's websites? Like, how do I kind of find out what those rates are? You talked about national averages, but maybe specifically to a city or a location.
Yeah, there's a website, Genworth, GENWORTH.com,
Okay.
genworth.com/cost of care. When you go there, you can type in the area you live or you want to invest in, and it will show you the average cost of care in your specific city or county. I love this site, and I need to get an affiliate link because I'm always sending people there. But I love this site because they have a toggle button. So you want to know what is going to be the cost of care now, but in the next 5, 10, 20 years. The cost of care has gone up 79% over the last 10 years. And it's only going to keep going up because baby boomers are not in assisted living yet. They've got 10, 20 years. And right now it's the silent generation. I want to say there's 47 million of them, but there's 76 million baby boomers coming. And we're currently 1.3 million beds short. I know that's a lot of numbers, but basically massive need, not enough beds. The cost of care is rising like crazy. So go to that website, genworth.com/cost of care, type in your area, find out how much it is today. Use the toggle button, say how much is it going to be in 5, 10, 20, whatever.
Yeah.
See what your market's looking like. Because if you don't have a plan for your own self, for your own loved ones, this may be better time than ever to look into investing in something like this. Because even if you just have one home, it's just your retirement plan, for lack of a better word,
Absolutely.
Yep. Something to cash flow now and take care of your family if and when they need it.
Love it. So how can an investor or entrepreneur best take advantage of this opportunity with this silver tsunami coming?
We like to say you can get involved 3 ways. You can own the real estate and lease it to an operator. So you're going to be getting twice the fair market rent with a long-term low impact tenant. They're probably signing a 3, 5, or 8-year agreement with you, probably paying upwards of twice the fair market rent because you've retrofit and renovated the property for this, right? And little or no maintenance. Depending on how you set up that contract, you might not be in charge of maintenance at all, but really it should be a very low impact tenant. No teenagers punching holes in the wall or anything like that. So owning the real estate, you could own the real estate and operate the business, which is, the best of both worlds. Now you're getting money on both ends of it, right? And you're getting the equity and everything in the home and all that good stuff. So that's where you're making that number, like the 10,000 a month number or upwards.
Okay.
Third way, and I know we've talked about this because I know that you do some of this, is JV partner or invest, right? Invest in someone who's going to do this. Maybe you don't want to own the real estate or the business, but you love this concept, you love the industry, and you just want to invest in someone who's going to do this. All 3 of those are great ways to get involved, and kind of it's whatever floats your boat. There's no right or wrong answer. It's what fits your wants and needs as an investor, and go from there.
Awesome. So did I miss anything? Any questions or anything you want to share with the audience about residential assisted living that maybe I missed or didn't ask?
I just think with the topic of your podcast and your company here, it's like, honestly, I feel like it could not be a better fit, right? Because our motto is to do good and do well, because truly it's one of the only opportunities I've ever heard of in real estate where you're making a major impact in your community, in your family, in the seniors' lives, the caregivers' lives. Like, we talked about the caregivers, and think about that experience for them. You're literally providing them a better life, And it just is like this full circle thing where it's like, there's not a lot of opportunities where you can help yourself and help others by helping yourself and vice versa. And this is totally one of those where all the pieces just kind of mesh. So if you're a listener and you're like, hey, I'm just all about money, like I'm a money guy, that's all, I don't really care about doing good in this world, you're probably not listening to this podcast. But but if that's you, then this is not the right industry for you, because this really is something you have to have a heart, you have to care. Whether or not you're working in the home, you need to care, because this is people's lives at stake. This is like real life stuff going on. And if you're all heart, and you don't care about the money, and you're like, I want to open a home for the low income seniors and stuff like that, it's like, that's great. That's not what we focus on teaching and training you to do. But I will say this. We've also had students who go and they open a home that's cash flowing 30 grand a month, and they use that money to open a home for seniors who can't afford it. And they basically supplement them and give them an amazing quality of life towards their end of life. And I'm like, that's amazing. Like, to do good in the world, you have to have the resources to do good. You can't just...
For sure. Yeah.
Right. It's like put on your mouth.
You can't donate $1 million if you didn't make the $1 million to begin with, right? Like, I try to have that argument. I have that argument a lot of times with people, I make good money. I donate a lot of good money. And I'm glad that do good and do well is not trademarked yet, or hopefully it's not, because I do use that every once in a while.
Use it. Use it. No, I think it's great, and I think it's really important, and it's just one of those things where you have to have that balance. You have to be that person who's like, I get it. I get the business sense of this, but I care about the seniors, and I care about the staff, and I want to do good by everyone. And I also want to do good for myself and my family and leave a legacy. And obviously you knew my dad. You came to the training when he was our lead instructor and our founder and everything like that. And I think something that's really amazing is there's not a lot of businesses that can be passed from one generation to the next seamlessly, right? And to have 3 cash flowing homes go from him to my siblings in a matter of overnight, and really no balls dropped, nothing changed, nothing happened, because the way he set them up to be so hands off and so passive with systems in place, like, it's my honor to share that with other investors and to really keep that legacy going. I always say it's like living a legacy. Like, if I just stopped and kept that for myself and just said, thanks, Dad, and I get, 3 cash flowing homes every month, it's like, cool, but what good am I doing if I don't share that with other people? And if you really think about that, if you were to, like, not to be morbid or anything, but if you or any of your listeners was just to go overnight, like, what would happen to a lot of your businesses? Like, would someone be able to just pick them up and carry on seamlessly? And if not, then, like, it's time to get your systems in place.
For sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's so important. And I think that that's just a really, I'm honored to be able to carry on his legacy and keep training people how to do this, because it's so important for so many investors as a plan for their own family, as a plan to leave a legacy for their children, to cash flow, and to help others. It's really just got that tick, tick, tick.
What is up, Hot REI Nation? My name is Jordan Nadella with Simplicity Lending Group and powered by Nexa Mortgage. As the nation's largest broker, Nexa Mortgage offers a variety of creative and competitive loan options through our 170 plus partnerships to help you achieve homeownership with the speed and service that you deserve. Whether you are a first-time homebuyer or an experienced investor, I'm dedicated to finding the right program to fit your financial goal. My mission is to make home ownership a very easy and seamless process from start to finish. If you are in the market today to purchase real estate, please contact me to find the best mortgage solution for your needs.
Yeah, no, it's a win-win-win for everyone. I totally agree. And thanks for sharing that, and I just think you guys really do an amazing job training people and getting people ready to be able to own these if they want or invest in them. And I don't know of another group out there doing as good a job as you guys nationally. I know there's other groups that do it, but really I've seen them or seen stuff and they don't even come in comparison to the RAW group. So kudos to your late father, Gene, and obviously and to you and your whole team there. But are you ready for the hot seat?
I'm ready.
All right. We ask all our guests the same final 4 hot questions. So, Isabelle, number 1, what is one book you'd recommend to someone wanting to know more about real estate investing or maybe a residential assisted living?
I just read The Compound Effect, and it's my new fave business book / just like mindset book.
That's Darren Hardy, maybe? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
I read
All
it before, but somebody brought it up and I was like, let me refresh. And I read it and I was like, this is gold. This is gold.
It's one of those books you'll pick up different things as you read it at different points in your career, for sure.
Yes.
What's your favorite productivity tip or trick, a tool, a time saver, an app, maybe something that lets you get more done than the average person?
Delegate and elevate. Someone told me that and I'll never forget it. It's like if you are doing something that can be done by someone else faster, easier, better, cheaper, get rid of it. Delegate and elevate. Keep going.
Love it. What is your biggest real estate mistake or failure, and what did you learn from it?
Oof. You know what I think? Well, in RAL, I'll say this. There's so much emotions that go into RAL investing, whether you're buying a home from someone who's owned this and worked in it for 7 or 8 years, or you're dealing with the families who are, leaving their loved ones in your hands, the caregivers when a resident dies. So I think like the biggest mistake is probably just forgetting. Like we started with my grandma needing care and I knew what that felt like in the moment, but then it's been 10 years, and so time has passed, things have changed. And I think I got away from that at a moment. And then I realized, oh my gosh, come back to the heart. Anything in real estate, this is someone's home. Like it is emotional, right? Even if it's an Airbnb, that's a vacation that can be emotional. Like when you stay close to the heart, you'll really be able to serve others better and just stay on top of your game. So I think my biggest mistake was just getting away from that.
Yeah, I love that. And I think so many of us tend to do that, right? You start focusing on the money or this or that, or you forget the whole reason why you started in the game to begin with. So that's a great reminder for all of us. Yeah. And finally, if you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
Ooh. I think our mission as a company is to positively impact 10 million people through residential assisted living. And I think I would like to be known for that, to be known for helping others create care homes that serve seniors, serve, the caregivers who are working in the homes and just their communities at large. I would love to be just known as the assisted living gal, helping others, have a great end of life.
That's amazing. And wishing you the best in being able to achieve that goal, which will do everyone a great level of benefit, So the best place for the Hot REI community to connect with Isabelle is going to be, you can actually schedule a discovery call with her team. I'll include that information in the show notes and the link. Thank you so much. Today was really an amazing day, Isabelle. Like I had a great time. I learned more about assisted living than even maybe your 3-day training did a couple years ago, but definitely picked me up right where you left off, and really appreciate you joining me today.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And to the audience, thank you for tuning in today, and commit to taking action today to move your investing forward. Take care and God bless.
Thank you for listening to the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast. Check out our website, hotrei.com, for additional content and resources. And please take a moment to subscribe and leave a review so we can continue to bring even more value to others through real estate investing.